Fishing for pleasure, fishing for pike. Out on the water, the morning feels right. Casting my line in the soft daylight. Fishing for pleasure.
Well, good morning troops. Another day, another pike season. And I was going to start off saying this is not officially my first session of the season. Although it is my first session. It's blowing off the cobwebs exercise. I'm not going to be able to fish this river for at least, not the way I want it, for at least another 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even longer. The floating weed is still a huge problem. I had a few jobs yesterday, so I drove up virtually the whole length from Boston up to here. Only about 3 or 4 swims you could call swims that were fishable. So I started off here. The approach was going to be this morning was just to have 4 hours, which I still got. I've got family commitments today. 4 hours, 5 hours maybe, might get to midday. And I was going to try 3 different methods with 3 different baits and see what they're taking early season. Put my paternostered running water paternoster float rig on my left hand margin, just off the reeds. There's a length of reed there, run about 20 metres. I'll show you the swim in a minute. So I've got one tucked down there, and I thought, right, I'll put a running ledger with a ledger boom, keep it above the weed and the debris this time of year, down the right hand margin between the overhanging tree and the bridge. It was only in the water 30 seconds, and the weed, all that floating weed, a big barrage of it came down and took the whole, even though I sunk the line and everything, can be quite deep into, you know, that floating weed, and it just took it away, not even 5 minutes. So that was obviously a no-no. So I brought that in. I thought, right, I'm going to change that over to a float rig as well. So get my third rod out. You know the little screw at the back of your reel handle, you undo to fold your handle? I couldn't find it. I thought, well, it's not in the, it wasn't actually in the reel. I thought, I've lost that. Shell out for a new reel. I managed to find it in the grass, so it must have been just hanging on and fell out. Anyway, so I got a static dead on the right hand there. It's picking up some debris, but it's my big sardine. Anyone that watches the channel knows I love a big sardine for a big fish. And also this year, well, last season I switched back over to trebles for my big baits, my big sea deads, my big coarse deads. Because sometimes, you know, if I'm fishing with a skimmer or a roach that big, I personally found the single hooks conversion rate just wasn't there for me. So the big sea deads and the big coarse deads I use now, I'm using trebles then, twin trebles, but I've switched over to them Palatrax grips, so there's no barbs at all, they're razor sharp, so I'll see how they go on. And so my middle rod I couldn't use as a ledger, so I put that out as another running water paternoster float rig. But on that one I've got a herring about 6 inches, so obviously a bigger size hook. I'll show you the rig later. So the left one is a paternostered smelt and the right one's a big sardine. They're all fishing, not beach casters, so I haven't got them up that high, but they are very high for me. I don't like fishing with high rods really. I think there's a bit of resistance there when the pike takes it, but got to keep that line out of the water, otherwise the floating weed will just take it away. Float rigs are brilliant because all that weed, it just goes random really, unless, oh, and I think I've got a bite or something topped. Actually, a silverfish topped on my middle rod. It got me all excited. I thought it was the float bobbing, but it weren't. A silverfish topped on my float. Yeah, so I'm all set to go. Hopefully this season the plan is, as always, I'm out fishing for 20, so that's what I mean. And the main goal is a river 30 or a drain 30, but as many 20s as we can throughout the season. So I say today's just to blow off the cobwebs, sort out the gear. It's been in hibernation since March. A little tidy up on my stuff and just have a little sit down. The only problem is this is a free stretch, and as with all free stretches, the litter is everywhere. There's beer cans and sweet wrappers everywhere. I come up there yesterday. There was no one fishing yesterday. There was loads of people with them body boards and kayaks. They were all in and out of the water. Oh, well, I don't think it was them, but you never know what sort of animal drops litter do. It could be anyone, but yeah, people have been fishing here, or they've been accessing the water with their kayaks from here, and there's a lot of detritus. But we've got 4 hours. Let's get off and kick on, and we'll have a cracking start to the season, will we? Let's see what these early pike are taking. I personally find early part of the season they'll have anything, and they'll have it pretty lively and all that. They don't hang about, they're not very finicky. I personally find on this river, early season, that extra food in there, they wolf it down. You've got to keep an eye on the rods all the time. Yeah, let's crack on. So there's the left hand margin rod. It's not out very far. I'm going to recast that in a minute and go further down that reed line. You've got a reed line there, see, I'll cast that further down that. That's a little bobber to float. I always tend to do me floats and everything to match my bait, so it's a small float, small bait. Middle rod, the paternostered herring. And the right hand rod is a static dead, and that's a whole sardine mounted on twin size 8 trebles. Been on the bank an hour. I say most of that was getting set up and sorting all the gear out. But we're out, we're fishing. Let's crack on, troops. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. Hopefully we'll catch you some pike. well, we're fishing a couple of hours. Normally it would be inclined to move swims after a few hours with no activity this time of year. As I say, there isn't any frosts to speak of really. It's autumn. Big river like this, the water's cold enough to fish with pike, but they're still going to be very lively and very active. And this time of year, if you only had a run or any interest in an hour or two, I don't think that swim is going to produce. I mean, you could sit all day and the pike might well come along, but I haven't got all day. I've only got 4 or 5 hours, as I said. So I'm just going to normally I'd up sticks, move upstream or downstream, depending on where the mood took me. But I'm just going to sit it out for a couple of hours here. I'm glad I couldn't describe it as not a serious session, because it is. It's always serious. I mean, I'm fishing for pike. But you've got to blow the cobwebs off, you know. There's a few teething troubles I said earlier with my reel. I'm just sitting there, and then the middle alarm flashed a couple of times. First of all, ooh, and it's flashing to tell me that the battery's dying or dead. So got up, tested that, dead as a dodo. So changed the batteries on that one. I've just now injected all 3 baits with either sardine oil. Obviously the sardine's got sardine oil in it. The smelt and the herring have got Predator Plus. We inject it, so that's slowly using that. We'll see if that attracts anything. The water's very clear. There's a lot of weed in there. It is gin clear. So hopefully a little bit of extra attractant clouding up the water. Scent maybe attract the fish. But at the moment we're first session in. It'll be the first blank. I don't think so. I don't know what I'll do with this video really. I've got, as I say, I'm busy today. I'm busy tomorrow. It's unbelievable, isn't it? I take a week off, start of October for the pike fishing season. Family obligations today, and I've got family obligations tomorrow afternoon. So there's going to be 2 morning sessions in a row. So I might twin them together, see how we go. Depending on the action here, if we get in the action, then maybe a standalone video as a season opener. If not, I'll combine it for session tomorrow, which I should probably do on a drain, because the river's, you know what I mean, too much floating weed here for it, really. So I'll drain tomorrow, and hopefully this week I'll get a big session in on the middle level. I'm going to target the middle level a lot this season. Some big fish in here, untapped potential. It's a vast water, so you know you're not going to crack it. Thought I saw something. Let me get up and have a look at that rod. Well, I was just giving up on the session. Something's grabbed hold of the big sardine. There it goes. There it goes. There we are. Just when you're thinking it's all over. Putting up a good fire, as you'd expect, early season. You see the difference in the yeah, it's putting up a good fight. Keeping very low. Really is. Bit of big net, I think. There we go. There we got one. Well, just packing up. And I've put up a fight. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Very lean, very small. Not small, I mean, but long, thin fish. Had a mackerel in there, that wasn't mine. None the worse for wear. Gonna put her in the sling. She put up a hell of a fight, so we'll put her in the sling and let her relax, and then we'll get her off. But we're away. We are away. Let's get her back. Just cast out, morning troops, I've just cast out the left rod first and then I've casted out the right rod. But there is definitely a pike down that left hand margin. I've seen activity. I'm going to move that left rod. I'm going to take a gamble. I know it's only just gone in literally 5 minutes, but there is definitely something down that left hand margin. Well, good morning troops. Part 2 of this season's opener, and the theme is very much short-term success. As you saw yesterday, we had 3-4 hours on the main river. It was not ideal conditions, but we found a swim with features that look like fish holes in the areas for pike, and we had some success. Nice, really hard fighting pike, weren't it? Really gave up a good show. So I left it in the sling for about 10-15 minutes. Absolutely fine, swam off like a bullet. So small, got to keep my eye on that rod. As I said, there's definitely something down that left hand margin. Anyway, today we're on a drain, and again you can see there's a hell of a lot of gunk and floating weed on the top. You know, the Lincolnshire rivers and drains have really suffered this year with the floating duckweed. So it's one of those days where I've got not as high as yesterday, but I'll keep my rods pretty high, try and keep that line out of the water, and just keep my eye on it, because there's floating clumps coming down all the time. I was hoping to do 3 systems again, but ledgering I don't think will be an option. So we've got 2 paternoster dead bait rigs floating and 1 static dead bait rig. Again, family commitments, so it's only another short session. Now I just said it's about short session success, and the best way you can ensure your success on a short session, it's not always guaranteed, but best bet is go somewhere you know. Go to a swim you know, go to a stretch you know, where it's got form, where you're confident in an hour or 2 or even 3 you can winkle out a decent pike, maybe 20 if they're there, 30 if they're there. And the reason I say it is life is unpredictable. You might have plans to go out this day, that day and that day. When it comes to it, family, work, all sorts of, you know, car problems, it could be anything. All of a sudden you can't go. So if you've got 3 hours, that could be only 3 hours in the month. And I know what I'd much rather be doing. I'd rather be on the bank for 3 hours, targeting big pike, and sitting in a traffic jam or going shopping or whatever. If you've got a spare couple of hours, and it's not always guaranteed that a venue you know is going to be throw up the right side, but if you're trying a new venue for 2 or 3 hours, chances are it's going to be a little bit harder, but a bit of pioneering never win a miss either. You know, a brand new venue, 2 or 3 hours here, 2 times a week, you get to know it pretty quick. And again, you could have short session success. So that's what it's all about. Short session success. We've got 3 baits in the water. I said I've seen there's definitely movement down that left hand side. And I've stuck my rod down there. And I can see the ripples again. And it's not broken the surface. Whatever it is that's down there, it's not broken the surface. There's no fry skirting around trying to escape it. So I don't even know if it is a pike. I mean, it could be a couple of tench down or bream down there rooting about, and you know, you don't know. But there's definitely movement down there. So I've put that rod there. It hasn't gone instantly, but I'm hopeful, always hopeful. Let's crack on. Let's catch us some pike. We have pike movement. See you can see the fry. There was a strike amongst them. Let's see if there's another one. You can see a fry moving along, all on the surface. You get a nice scatter. We know there's pike around. Slightly bigger fish topping and all. So silverfish here, that's good. Now we want to see a great big swell. The only problem is when they get preoccupied with live baits, they won't touch your deads. There's nothing striking at them. As I say, there was a small strike and then... There you go. You see that? On the right hand side. Another small strike. It could well be a perch striking at them. Paternoster herring on a circle hook. And we've missed it. The joys of single hooks. Well, troops come at the end of the session. I got an hour longer than I expected, which didn't really help me either because it came a bit too late. If I'd known I'd had 4 hours instead of 3, I would have upped sticks after 2 hours and moved downstream a little bit, but what can you do? It's about short sessions. Short session success in the first one. We had a nice fish out. Sadly, up to now we haven't. We've got about 15-20 minutes before we pack up. As you can see, it's roasting. That's not ideal conditions. Water's very clear, even though there's weed in there. The water is gin clear. It's very bright. This evening may be, you know, time your short sessions, evening or morning. That's just that my afternoons and evenings have taken up this week, as I said, personal stuff. So But that's the season opener. We've had one fish. We started off with a fish, so we haven't blanked. We've had a nice couple of hours on the drain, nice couple of hours on the river, and we'll bang on and we'll go to our next menu. Hopefully, I've got a full day coming up, so I think personally the Lincolnshire rivers and drains are too full of duckweed at the moment. Still too much floating crap on there. I shall probably head off to the big open spaces of the middle level and fish that from one full day proper session to start the season off. We had 2 quick fire ones. We haven't had a great time and had a bad time either. As I say, yesterday we caught fish, today looks like we're going to blank. Really is hot. It's about 18-19 degrees, you know, so it's, you know, the water temperature's okay for pike, but the air temperature is very, very hot. As I say, it's crystal clear, bright sunshine, but you never know. We might have one before we go. If you do, you won't miss the action. Thanks for watching.